Hey, everybody. David Swor here with DJ Cox for another episode of Frenemies. And DJ, we're going to talk about a team today that I don't know if they got some voodoo or some magic of some sort. I don't know what's going on here, but let's talk about the Tampa Bay Rays and what a genius Kevin Cash is. And last season proved it. I remember being on this podcast last year, talking about how all these prognosticators were saying they were going to be a great team. And I think we both agreed. It was just kind of like, I don't see it. But apparently they were right. And for once, we were wrong.
Yeah.
So DJ, talk about the 2020 Tampa Bay Rays.
40-20 in a 60-game season is outstanding. 667 win percentage. First in the AL East. Won the AL wildcard over the Blue Jays 2-0. The Blue Jays were just happy to be there, let's be honest. So they were kicked out pretty fast. Won the ALDS 3-2 over your Yankees, David. So that was a tough one, I'm sure, for you. On a walk-off by who was that guy, David? What was that guy's name?
Mike Brousseau. And let me just say this, DJ. I'm a total Yankee fan. You know that. But if anybody ever deserved it, it was Aroldis Chapman. What an idiot. What an idiot. You buzz a guy, throw a 100-mile-an-hour fastball by his head and then stare him down. I hate to say it, but a little part of me was happy. I'm just going to admit it right there. Way to go, Mike Brousseau. But, yeah, anyway, that was second time in two out of 3 years Aroldis has given up a walk-off, and he deserved that when he had it coming.
Yeah, I remember you saying that too. And nobody knew who Brousseau was until he hit the bomb, and he became a hero all of a sudden. Now he's a big part of the mix for them as well. So they won the ALCS 3-2 over the Astros in a really good series there. Lost the World Series 4-2 to the Dodgers. So Kevin Cash pulled Blake Snell. We already talked about this a little bit. Everybody's talked about this. His stable full of guys who threw 95 was awesome. That was his little quote that he made all year. Brandon Lau led the team with RBI with 37. Randy Arozarena, 10 homers and 14 RBI in the regular season. However, in the postseason, I should say, he had 10 bombs and 14 games. Unbelievable in 20 games, David. 500 batting average versus the Blue Jays, 421 versus the Yankees. 325 versus the Astros and 364 versus the Dodgers in the World Series. So they fell just short. They had an instant classic game where they won on a walk-off by Brett Phillips, which is one of the most unbelievable games you will ever see. The Rays put up a huge fight, man, and just came up a little short, David. So what did you think of the 2020 season?
Again, it's just voodoo. I just don't understand it. Man, what great seasons from Nick Anderson out of that bullpen, 0.55 ERA. Dude just strikes everybody out. I hated to see he's having arm surgery out for the season. Diego Castillo was amazing. Pete Fairbanks was amazing. Mike Brousseau, for the little bit that he played, 302, 5 homers, 12 RBIs. I don't know how the Rays do it. Where do they find these guys? We're going to talk about that a little bit, some of these trades that they made in the offseason. But more power to them, man. I mean, honestly, the Rays are fun. If I wasn't a Yankee fan, I might be a Rays fan because I just appreciate what they do. Kevin Cash is genius. They make the most out of what they got now. That like we talked about with the Snell thing, he was very guilty of overthinking that. But you know what? You live by moves like that, and you die by them. So just what a great team. I hated to see him kind of tear it down a little bit, but I understand it as well.
Yep, I agree. I really do. So the key adds, David, Francisco Mia from the Padres, Joe Odom, catcher from the Mariners, Rich Hill from the Twins, Chris Archer from the Pirates, Michael Wacha from the Mets, Colin McHugh from the Red Sox, Jeff Springs from the Red Sox, Chris Mazza from the Red Sox, Luis Patino from the Padres, and Hunter Strickland from the Mets. So I think I'm going to agree with you on this one. I think you're going with the prospects that they got in the Padres trade as the key adds to this team. Yeah, looks like they're going to be pretty studly, David. What do you think of the ads?
Yeah, I mean, but watch out for Mejia, man. And he was a top prospect at one point.
Yeah.
And, man, the Rays are famous for getting the most out of guys like him. I know his defense is iffy, but I think they're going to platoon him and Zunino. And so don't be surprised if Mejia busts out at some point this year. And we're going to talk about Patino in a little bit. I really like him.
You got it, man. So drops, I got Michael Perez to the Pirates, Hunter Renfroe to the Red Sox, Jose Martinez to the Mets, Nate Lowe to the Rangers, Brian O'Grady to the Padres, Blake Snell to the Padres, Charlie Morton to the Braves, Aaron Loop to the Mets, John Curtis to the Marlins, Jose Alvarado to the Phillies. That was a tough loss. Anthony Banda to the Giants, and Edgar Garcia to the Reds. So of those key losses, what'd you think, David? Who was a tough one to lose there?
Well, I'm going to say it's Charlie Morton, only because he's kind of the heart and soul of that pitching rotation. I'm not a big Blake Snell fan. I've not been shy about that. But I'm a huge Charlie Morton fan. He's a gamer. He's a playoff pitcher. And I think the Braves did a great thing in adding him. Now, DJ, I'm going to give you the next minute to profess your undying love for 147 hitting Hunter Renfroe. So tell us why that was the biggest loss.
The guy mashes and drives in ribbies, and that's what the game's about, is scoring runs. And if you knock people in, you knock people in. It's all about just the RBI, baby. RBI and runs scored. If you're high on those, you can hit 105 for all I care if you have 100 RBI.
Oh, man, I'll never understand the Hunter Renfroe thing or the David Bodie thing. I'm going to throw that out there. I think he's hitting 125 so far this season. But the one hit that he did have, DJ and Matt Kearns were going crazy over through text. So I thought that was hilarious. I looked him up thinking, well, man, he might be hitting 300 because I dropped him literally the next day after the draft. Nope, 125. He's hitting 125.
Made a great defensive play, though. He'll probably be on SportsCenter. Him and Chris Bryant both made awesome defensive plays, so I'll throw that out there. But whatever.
Hey, speaking of great defensive plays, and I wish I knew how to do the share screen thing that Kearns does. Did you see the Arozarena catch last night?
I did not.
DJ, one of the greatest catches you will ever see. Go watch it. It was amazing. Almost as good as Jim Edmonds, but not quite.
Wow. So, David, go ahead and run us through that 2021 lineup.
All right. So, listen, full disclosure, I have no idea who Kevin Cash is going to play. And so I literally saw 5 different lineups out there, but this is the one I'm going to roll with, okay? And this is understanding that Kevin Kiermaier is on the DL right now. Yandy Diaz playing first base, 307, 2 homers, 11 RBIs. Of course, you never know. That might be G-Man Choi. Right field, Randy Arozarena, 281, 7 homers, 11 RBIs. Second base, Mike Brusso, 302, 5 homers, 12 RBIs. That could be Joey Wendell, just as easy. Center field, Manuel Margot, 269, a homer, 11 RBIs. Left field, Brandon Lau, who might be playing second base, 269, 14 homers, 37 RBIs. Willie Adames, underrated shortstop, 259, 8 homers, 23 RBIs. The DH, I put Austin Meadows down, 205, 4 homers, 13 RBIs. Could just as easy be Sasugo. It could be Mejia. It could be Zunino. There's just a ton of guys could fit in there. It could be G-Man Choi. Catcher, I put Mike Zunino down. Terrible year last year, 147, 4 homers, 10 RBIs, but the dude was big in the playoffs. He had a couple big hits in the playoffs. And then at third, I put Joey Wendell, 286, 4 homers, and 17 RBIs. So, DJ, everybody's going to play. What do you think about the lineup?
That lineup that you had is nothing even close to what I had. So you're exactly right when you're saying 5 different
Tell me
lineups.
what you had. I just need to hear this because literally you could go 100 different ways on this. I pulled this lineup off of, I think the website is called RotoChamp, which is mostly for fantasy. But I'm telling you, as a fantasy player, it's hard to draft a Ray.
Yeah.
Because you just don't know if they're going to play every day. And there's a couple guys that you can draft. Brandon Lau, he's going to play every day. Willie Adames is going to play every day. The rest of these guys, who knows? Randy Arozarena is going to play every day.
Yeah, so, I got G-Man Choi at first because I know he's hurt right now, but Yoshi Tsutsugo will be the guy there until he's ready. Austin Meadows at DH, Randy Arozarena in left, Brandon Lau at second, Yandy Diaz at third, Kevin Kiermaier in center, Manuel Margot in right, Willie Adames at short, and Zunino catching. So mine's completely different. Yeah.
Same guys, it's all mixed up. And like I said, I thought Wendell was a second baseman the whole time. They had him penciled in at third. I knew that Brandon Lau played second. They got him penciled in at left. I don't know. I literally don't. I was embarrassed to read my lineup, to be honest with you, because I just really don't know.
No, you know what, though? You're right about that because it can go 5 different ways, and he will go 5 different ways. Let's just be honest. Like you said, he's got a lot of guys on that bench that will play. They are very deep, David, and that's one of their strengths. It really is. So talk about that rotation, David.
So Tyler Glasnow is their ace, and I'm going to be honest with you, DJ. You've always loved him. I didn't realize how awesome he was. So his ERA doesn't, it's not too sexy, 4.08 last year. But when you dig down and see all the Ks, wow. And of course, I knew how awesome he was. It's a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. He looks great. So I didn't know if it was control, but it turns out it's not. I mean, he just had kind of some bad luck last year. He didn't have a bunch of walks, but a ton of strikeouts. Now, here's where it gets hairy. So you got Yarborough as the number 2, 1-4, 356 last year. I like him. But he's kind of been their piggyback guy. Then you got Michael Wacha. I'll never understand this. 0-1, 7.20 ERA. Rich Hill, we've talked about him. He's had nice points in his career, but not been very healthy. 2-2, 3.03 ERA. And then they brought back Chris Archer, 0-1 with a 13.50. So, DJ, what do you think about that rotation?
Nope.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you. What are you doing?
Nope, not a fan. I don't like it at all. You took a really big hit with Blake Snell and Charlie Morton being gone, and I don't think they did enough to replace those two. I really don't. Like I talked about in our last podcast with the Twins, I love Rich Hill. I think he's awesome. That was a tough loss for the Twins, and he came over to the Rays now. Chris Archer, man, I know he played with the Pirates, and that hurts you as a pitcher, no doubt, but he was awful for them. And it wasn't really just being with the Pirates. Like, he didn't compete at all. So I don't know. And Waka's, showed signs young, and he's been just okay since, just a dude, really. So I think it took a hit, David. I'm not really sure about it. So we'll see. So for the strengths, though, David, I'm going lineup because of what you just said. You can go 5 different ways. They're so deep. This team has great offense. I'm not doubting that at all. They're gonna outscore a lot of, and they got more coming. They got more offense coming very soon. So this team is just loaded, David, in the lineup. So what do you think the team strength is?
I'm going to go with the bullpen. I know they lost a couple of key guys out of that bullpen in Alvarado, and now their closer from last year, his name just slipped me. But they still have Diego Castillo, and I just believe in what they do with the matchups. I believe that Kevin Cash is always going to make the right decision. He still has a stable of 100-mile-an-hour throwers, and so I'm going to believe that their bullpen is still their strength.
So I'm going to go with the rotation as the weakness. 1, 2, and 3 I like. 4 and 5 I do not like, David, and I don't think there's very much depth here right now. But we can talk about here in a little bit. There might be some coming up very soon here with them as well, which makes this team stronger. So right now we got a couple spots that we think are weak, but I think they're going to get better. So we leads us right into the prospects, David. Go ahead and tell us who's going to help that rotation.
So I want to talk about Luis Patino. He came over in the Snell trade along with like 2 other really good prospects and Mejia. So he was signed by the Padres in 2016 out of the Dominican Republic. 97 to 99 on the fastball, sits at 97. His slider and change are already plus pitches. The little bit that he pitched last year, the swing and miss rate on those was very high. The problem is the command. And so everything I've read on him says even with bad command, he could be an impact reliever. If he gets the command down, he's going to be a starter. That's why I believe that the Rays sent him down. And I believe before the year's up, DJ, he's going to be in that rotation, and this team can be dangerous. So watch out for Luis Patino.
And watch out for Wander Franco, David.
Yes,
Number 1 prospect in all of baseball resides in the Rays. Their farm system is absolutely loaded. It is number 1 on a lot of teams. A lot of people have predicted number 1 for their farm system overall. I think 8. You have that too?
Yes, sir. 8 top 100 guys. 8. Normally we see teams with like 4 and 5, and you think, oh, that's great. 8 top 100 guys. That's amazing.
That is ridiculous, David. And they are there's even more guys besides the 2 we were mentioning that are going to come up this year that they're saying are very close, if not coming up this year as well, out of those 8 guys. So this team is loaded on the farm. which makes them even more dangerous. Even the little things that we were worried about with this team, I don't think they're going to be there at the end, David. I really don't. I don't think those weaknesses are going to be there. Wander Franco, I guess the only thing I'm wondering, David, and maybe you can chime in on this because he is legit. I've seen video on this kid. He played spring training a little bit. What an absolute stud. So who do you sit when you bring him up? That's because he's got to play if he comes up. You have to play him. You can't put him on the bench and just sit him. So who's sitting?
They'll figure it out. That's all I can say. I don't know how they'll figure it out, but they'll figure it out. And, you know, do you love their DH situation, DJ? Because I don't.
I mean, I like Austin Meadows. I really do. And I think, like, Shutsogo or however you say his name, man, I'm not giving up on – I don't really hate any of these guys in this lineup. I'm just being honest. I love Kevin Kiermaier. I'm a huge fan of that guy. Like, defense, offense, that's a real deal player right there. My kind of guy, my kind of player.
Yeah, I'd forgot about Meadows. I was thinking more of Sasugo and G-Man Choi and those guys. I'd forgotten about Meadows. So I take my comment back. I guess what I'm saying is they'll move guys around. They'll find a way. If he's the number one prospect in baseball, which you think last year the number one prospect was Fernando Tatis. So if he's a Fernando Tatis caliber player, they'll figure it out.
It will, man. And we just had our conversation there for about a minute there, and we had 4 different guys in 4 different spots because that's just how it is. It's like, you know, we could put the DH, we can use 3 or 4 different guys there. We can use 3 or 4 different first basemen. It's crazy, man. He's got a lot at his disposal, and they are loaded with talent. So position battles, David, I'm going to go with that catcher. Like you were saying, Francisco is right down the neck of Mikey Zunino. If Zunino struggles, he's been terrible offensively. He can hit bombs, there's no doubt about it, but his average and on base are brutal. And the power numbers just don't make up for me. It's not like he's out there mashing like 30 and 100. So, I mean, he's got him breathing the prospect right down his neck, and we'll see how he works that too. He may go 2 catchers as well. I really think he's going to see. I think we're going to see Francisco playing a little bit here too as well. So, man, they're going to run out a ton of lineups this year. What do you got for position battle?
I had the same one. I just can't believe that they would continue to run Zunino out there hitting 147, which, you know, that's not normal for him, but he's still not any better than probably a 220 hitter with some power. So I think Mejia can be sneaky, man. Again, keep in mind, he was like a top 10 prospect in all of baseball 2 or 3 years ago. So watch out for him.
Team is very deep, man. So favorite memory, David, I'm going to say this, not just because, you know, it kind of hurt when this happened. I'm not going to lie to you. And I spent the whole night after this game and the next day trying to figure out what in the world happened. But when Brett Phillips hit that walk-off in the World Series, David, that was like the most awesome thing, one of the most awesome endings to a game I've ever seen in my entire life. And I literally can show that clip to my baseball team that I coach, and I can go over so many different things that happened wrong for both teams on that one play, and just how amazing the game of baseball is, David. These are professional players booting the ball around, tripping over their feet, you know, not backing up plays, taking their eye off the ball. There are so many things that happen wrong on that play that blows your mind in a World Series with the 2 best teams in the world playing each other. So that's the great thing about the game of baseball. It is not easy. The professionals make it look hard, and they made it look really hard at the end of this game. But to me, man, if I was a Rays fan, there is no doubt in my mind this is something that I would never forget. And I think that they never will forget it, but they just obviously hated the end of this season. And when Joe Madden led them to the World Series as well, they did not make it all the way. So they've come very close twice, haven't won it yet, but who knows, man, with all these prospects they got coming up, they are still loaded and their time is not gone right here. So that was my memory. What you got, David?
So obviously being in the same division with the Rays, when they're good, I hate them. And when they're bad, it seems like they're really bad. So I'm going to go with, in 1999, I got to go to I believe it was 99 or 2000. I got to go to a Rays-Yankees game in Tampa. And to be honest with you, DJ, I'm thinking back, I think it's the only game I've ever been to with my dad. My dad is not big on going to stadiums. I actually, for his birthday one year, offered to buy tickets to go to Yankee Stadium, and he just said, I'd rather watch it on TV. He's just never been a huge fan of it. And if I've been to any major league games with my dad otherwise, I just don't remember them. Maybe I think now that I look back, maybe we went to the Braves one time. So it was pretty cool, not only going to a game with your dad, but for it to be both of our favorite teams. We always went to Florida on vacation, and we made the trip across the state. We used a vacation close to Daytona and went and watched the Rays play the Yankees. So super cool experience. That's definitely my favorite memory of the Rays.
That's awesome, David. So you're going to piggyback definitely onto the next question, the stadium. So talk about that stadium a little bit.
Dump. Super big dump. So, when you walk into a major league stadium, man, I've been to several, not near as many as you, but it just definitely has this feel, and I don't know how to really explain it. I mean, there's just something a little bit magical about it. Yeah, all those good feelings were gone when I went to Tropicana. Are they still calling it Tropicana Field?
I have no idea. I think so. That's what I have it written down here as, because that's what I know it as.
It's so plain and ugly and just not a great place to watch a baseball game. And Major League Baseball really needs to address this, if we're just being honest. The Rays had a great season last year. They've had some great teams, but even when they win, the fans don't show. And a lot of it is, I believe, and this is sad, but it's just true, the stadium offers you no experience. Yep. I mean, it's just a terrible place to watch a baseball game. So I really believe if they had a little bit better place to watch a game and still had good teams like they had now, they'd get a lot of fans to come. But not a big fan of Tropicana. Have you been there, DJ?
No, but I completely died laughing when you used the word dump to start your description of Tropicana. I literally put one word on this thing, and that is the word dump. So we completely had the same word for this stadium. I have no idea how we did that, but that's hilarious. But when I go to Florida, it's going to be the Marlins and Rays. You got to do both.
It's a long way away, DJ. You don't realize how far Miami is from. I didn't realize. Like I said, we vacationed down there, and from where we used to vacation, it was still like 8 or 10 hours to Miami. So you better be ready for a long trip on that one.
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna just love that, having two infants as well. Driving all over the country is gonna be a blast with two infants. So, all right, man. So it is trivia time, buddy. So in 1998, the inaugural season for the Rays is what I'm going to talk about with my two quick questions for you here. The 1998 Rays. This should be a Hall of Fame first baseman, hit 19 bombs and 81 ribbies that year. Who was it?
Fred McGriff. Hey.
You remember McGriff as a Ray. That's pretty good, buddy.
Well, I did remember it, but my question is also from 1998.
Oh.
And I'm surprised by some of the names on that list. And I want to throw something out here, DJ. Did you realize, so I was looking at the Rays roster from 1998, that the Rays actually drafted Bobby Abreu in the expansion draft and immediately traded him for Kevin Stockton. Who is Kevin Stockton? I have no idea. I don't remember him. He came from the Phillies, and Abreu went on that next year to have a huge year. Off goes his career. DJ thinks he's a Hall of Famer, which is ridiculous. But before that, just mediocre. But, yeah, man, the Rays had Bobby Abreu. How crazy is that?
What an awful trade. Is that Mr. and Mrs. Stockman's kid? I have no idea who them people are.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Fire the GM.
No doubt. I mean, he did a pretty good job getting some names there. I mean, they had Fred McGriff, who should absolutely 100% be in the Hall of Fame.
100%.
In your inaugural season. And they had some other good players, man. Dimitri Young was on that team. He was good for a little bit. I'm trying to think. Wade Boggs was on that team. They had a lot of good players, a lot of good names on that team. Now they're pitching, not so much. But their lineup, wasn't that bad. At one point, they had Jose Canseco on that team, which I think that was a little later. But anyway, I was looking down that list today. Miguel Cairo was on that team. There was just a lot of players that you would know their names from that era. A lot of them towards the end of their career, but they did a pretty good job setting up a lineup.
You got it, man. You got it, no doubt. So I also wanted to ask you one more question from that 98 team. This National League manager was on that team. Name that manager.
National League manager. All right, let me think here.
Was a starter for them in the outfield.
Wouldn't be Dave Roberts. Man, I'm like blanking on my managers right now. Jace Tingler. The Scrubs got David Ross. He was catcher. Let's see. Give me the division.
He's currently in the NL East managing.
Okay. NL East. Dave Martinez.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Nice.
There you go.
I forgot about that, actually. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Very cool.
All right. So here's my question, DJ. Who hit the first home run in Rays history?
Oh, man. Also from the 98 team.
Oh, from the 98. Yep, that's right.
Bobby Abreu. I'm just kidding.
That's who should have hit it, but they're like idiots. Kevin Stockton.
That's terrible. Wow. I'm gonna stick with Fred McGriff since he had like that many bombs this year.
That's a good guess. But it was actually Wade Boggs, who's from the Tampa area. Super cool moment. Yeah. And yeah, I was going to I have a Wade Boggs autograph, actually. My sister said he was dead dog drunk when he gave it to her. She gave it to me for my birthday one year. She said he was drunk out of his mind. He was at their mall signing baseballs. His signature is completely incoherent. You can't read anything. But anyway, he hit the first home run. They were down 11-0 when he hit the home run in that inaugural season. So really bad team.
I do not condone drinking, nor have I ever or will drink. But Wade Boggs is, I think, a legendary alcoholic drinker. I think he's like legitimately a legend as far as drinking beer goes and eating chicken. That's what he's known for. Like pregame chicken every day.
Chicken
every day. How can you do that?
Fried chicken. His arteries got to be like blood.
His liver and his arteries are fried, and he's still plugging around.
No doubt.
There, man. I can't. When you said he was drunk, it immediately popped into my mind that he's that man can throw it down. From what I hear, holy cow! All right, David. Yeah. So we're at prediction time. So what do you got for prediction?
So just to be honest with you, DJ, I can't remember between them or the Blue Jays who I had second. So I'm pretty sure it was the Rays, and I'm gonna still put them as second. Excuse me. But I don't think they're making the playoffs. If they added a pitcher or two, I'm a believer again. But at this point, I can't put them in. What do you think?
So they're gonna finish second to the Yankees. They're gonna make a wild card, and they're gonna defeat somebody who I will not tell you yet because we haven't got to them yet. But they will make it to the NLDS against the Yankees, where they will lose to the Yankees, who will make the National League or the American League Championship and lose to the Astros. So that's kind of the little path I got going there. So the Rays will make the wild card game, win that wild card game versus a team we haven't covered yet, and then bow out to the Yankees, the Yankees will then lose in the ALCS. Sorry, David, but what's going to happen, buddy?
I hear you.
Well, David, it's been fun, man. The Rays are a very good team. They're going to be legit for years to come with all these stud prospects they got coming too. Man, this is a team to be reckoned with. I hate for your Yankees to have to deal with them for all these years with all these top prospects and everything. So Rays fans, enjoy. Please like and subscribe our podcast, Frenemies. David, it's been good as always, buddy. You have a good night, everybody.
You too. We'll see you guys.